everybody, welcome back. We are with Astrology Victoria. My name is Dulcie and I'm here with my co-host,
Tatiana, and we are here to talk about the fourth week of February astrology. And very amazing things are happening on many levels. So we'll discuss some of what has happened also before as, time goes by. This is kind of interesting. So we'll be diving in right away, right, Dulcie?
Definitely, yeah.
Awesome.
So I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about the Sun-Saturn conjunction and how that's been playing out at least in Canadian society. Did you want to talk about that a little bit first?
Yes, because if you saw our first week video when we were talking about Sun Saturn and feeling the identity squished, or when people get too much repression, and how that can create a lot of like it's like you put the sun in a cage, literally. And it's very interesting that now we're recording this, a couple weeks later, and then we're going back to then what happens or ways in which this archetype has played out. So I it's very interesting that here in Canada there is this truckers movement. They call it the Freedom Convoy. They are protesting for some kind of freedom, and we're not going to go politics. It's more the facts is that's what they're doing. And apparently February 8th or around that date, well, the police in Ottawa was taking away the fuel from the truckers, just taking it away. Like, why are you doing that? They're peacefully protesting. And then you see these videos online. There's like, well, they're kind of just there peacefully in the streets. And I have a few of those videos if you want to share the one where people are just kind of partying in the street. And it's like, they're not like violently protesting. Like, why are they doing that? And then so this police from Calgary, I kind of saw a video. He's making kind of a statement that is very Sun Saturn in its best expression of what it means, because the Sun Saturn, if we get its best energy, I'm going to read from one of our favorite books, The Archetypal Universe by Ren Butler. Its qualities of responsibility and self-discipline, modesty and integrity, authenticity and centeredness, defined self-consciousness, a focus on work and duty. So that is like the best expression of Sun Saturn in any case. When you have a trine, if you have like a conjunction, it could go either way, right? It could be something that is like it's completely oppressive of, or it can be expressed as a questioning, like, am I in integrity? And this video, I mean, I have it here. I cannot share it. I have it in my phone, but I find like if you listen to like the first minute, it's very illustrative of this. And this was exactly on February 8th when the exact conjunction was happening. So,
hello, my name is Nick Motichka. I'm a police officer currently with the Calgary Police Service. I've been with Calgary for just a little over 10 years. And prior to that, I was with the RCMP for approximately 6 years. I just wanted to read something that I wrote this evening. Today was a hard day for me. Something was taken away from me that I can never get back. Watching members of the Ottawa Police Service seize fuel from peaceful protesters took away a long-held belief that I thought to be a lasting truth. And that is that the police are here when push really comes to shove to protect and help people. I will never see my profession in the same light that I did before today. What I saw was the police doing politicians' dirty work like hired goons. This goes against every reason why I chose this mostly thankless, difficult, traumatizing career with terrible hours. The reason I got into law enforcement was to help people. However naive that was, it is my honest truth. As the years wore on, I'll be the first to admit that I got jaded, but I never let anything compromise my integrity. I always applied the front page of the newspaper test, and that is, would I be okay with whatever I was about to do being on the front page of the paper or a news story in your feed for younger viewers? Doing what was right even when no one was looking, even if it was difficult, was always the right decision. What is happening in Ottawa with the clear political influence on the police to physically exert political will on peaceful protesters for nothing more than possible political gain is so very wrong on so many levels.
So this is just interesting to see. This is one way an archetype can play out. And again, this guy is speaking from his truth. Whether it's absolutely true or not true, that's not the point. The point is what it does, this kind of archetypes and how it plays out and what comes into consciousness. And this was very interesting to see, like, wow, what's going on in the past as time moves on. So as we do these videos, we were kind of, reporting on those possible, all the myriad possibilities in which these archetypes can express. This is really interesting to see how random people just express those archetypes on those exact conjunctions. And as you see, this guy is, for him, it's about the integrity and what he chose. And maybe for somebody else is different, but that's not the point. The point is what it does to the psyche in general, these kinds of actions. And we saw that when Saturn is, Saturn calls always for discipline, for integrity, that's like its best expression. And we're seeing these calls, plus that square to Uranus, and then this is the freedom part of it. And that moves things forward. And we've seen throughout all this Saturn square Uranus is like, how are we going to move forward in the future with integrity? How are we moving forward with structures that benefit everybody? It's Aquarius. How are we going to move forward? So this is part of the very big scope of 2021, and 2022. This is the big question or framework in which all the other aspects are being inserted. So with that being said, let's go into week 3 of February. And if you have any comments on what you have been experiencing in the past weeks, we would love to hear from you, what's come up for you or what you have observed or seen.
Yeah, it sounds like this man was having an issue with the sun, sort of his identity and what he stands for, coming up against the powers that be in Saturn. And it was different. How he was being asked to behave was different than how he would choose to behave. And that's never a comfortable position to be put in. And especially if you're working for the police or the army, I imagine you're put in so many situations where you don't necessarily agree with what you're being told to do, and you still have to do it. That's your role. So that's quite an uncomfortable position to be in. I can imagine. I can see the Sun and Saturn dynamics playing out there quite a bit. Okay, let's take a look at week 3. So this week starts with Monday, February 21st and ends Sunday, February 27th. So that covers most of February. And let's go into the first aspect here. So we're going to start with Jupiter sextile Uranus. So that was happening before as well. That's been happening most of February, since February 4th, and it will go right until March 3rd. So all of this week, you'll be feeling the Jupiter sextile Uranus. So do you have anything to say on that, Tatiana?
Well, sextiles, we always say they're not like dominant energies. And again, with transpersonal planets, with the outer planets, it's not like you feel it necessarily in your everyday life. Like, oh, I am feeling Uranus. It's more like, is these generic collective energies that you are usually kind of embedded in. And the sextiles are these opportunities that we have that if we write it, it will take us further. And with Jupiter Uranus, there can be a huge expansion of the need for liberation and self-expression. There could be big, moments like freedom, that's how it feels for me. Like big, top of the mountain, kind of like, you know, where there is a possibility to regain one's desire to individuate, because that's part of the Uranus archetype, is individuation, pushing forward, being oneself, like being on that quest of it's like the hero's journey, and the moment when it's like the apex. I don't know, I feel this kind of, yeah, it's like I feel it as a very top of the mountain, open arm, scream of some kind of liberation. And that's how I feel it archetypally. So possibly what this could mean for people is, where are you having opportunities, because Jupiter brings opportunity to move you forward into more of what you truly are authentically, Uranus. Where in your life are you having these opportunities, and are you actually writing them with positive, in a positive manner? Usually in a sextile, Jupiter brings these awesome opportunities. You just have to see it and recognize the opportunity and jump on it and go, oh yes, this is it. This is a path. I can actually do this. And that advances your own individuation process. This is how I see it. What do you see, Dulcie? What do you think?
So Uranus is playing quite a significant role lately, with the Saturn square Uranus, all of these planets. So Mercury soon is going to square Uranus, and the planets in Capricorn, they were recently, Mars and Venus were recently trining Uranus. So Jupiter again expands things and makes things bigger. So the Uranian energy of wanting to individuate and self-express, and the word that seems to be popping up so much is freedom. Uranus does signify that, some sort of breaking free, having some sort of disruption, and then experiencing a sense of freedom afterwards. So Jupiter just expands that kind of signification. And we are certainly seeing this in Canada, and we're seeing it all around the world, of course. So regardless of where you stand on the topics that we discussed at the beginning, everybody wants a sense of freedom. It's potentially how we get there that might be different, but everybody's kind of got the idea of freedom on their mind right now, and looking at it in potentially different ways. Yeah. Okay. And a few things that I had said last week but are still applicable are things like being open to new ideas and experiences. So Uranus kind of shakes up your rigidity, and Jupiter opens you up to new things. And Jupiter in Pisces, your boundaries are quite permeable at the moment. So you're kind of soaking in everything from the environment outside of you. So you're open to new ideas and experiences, wanting to break free from your regular routine, your daily kind of, get up, go to work, come home, go to bed. You want something new to your daily life, and having new sort of educational opportunities pop up, or opportunities at work. These kinds of things might pop up for you.
I also sense that there's a big awakening energy, because Pisces wants you to awaken to something that's beyond. It's beyond our little human pettiness, because it's Pisces, is where everything dissolves, is the other side. So with Uranus, there's almost this electrical pull that goes zzz, And if you are a Pisces or a Taurus, like any water signs or earth signs might be actually feeling this in a very positive way, in a very, go forward, especially if you have anything around those degrees of the 11th 11 to 12 degrees, and give or take, 5 degrees on each side. If you're, for example, your sun is there, or you can look at your chart and see, oh, how is this affecting me? Because it doesn't affect everybody in the same manner. If you really have important personal planets, aspecting this, energy in Pisces and Taurus, well, you're going to be feeling this much more stronger, like almost as if your psychic abilities could open up. That's also part of that, is the awakening, is the Kundalini rising, is all of that could be things or themes that some of you might be experiencing. This big expansion of your consciousness, because that's a little bit what it is. And Uranus also represents the higher mind. So the higher mind is not Mercury, the one that makes, oh, this is a cup and this is blue, and that's Mercury, what observes and labels. Yeah, the higher mind is idea. Where did this come from? I don't know. Inspiration. It's something beyond, and that's how inventions get created. It's not like, oh, I thought of it. No, that is the Uranian field, is where these things come from. Those massive breakthroughs of understanding come from the Uranian field. So it's pretty cool when there's these aspects with Jupiter, and so that's going to be something that you need to also actively pursue. It's not going to just happen. You need to actively pursue it. Like, for instance, taking time to go within, meditate, and self-reflect. What is me in my individuation process? What do I want? What is coming my way that I can, be proactive with my own awakening? This is kind of a little bit how I see it as well. So yeah, that's that small aspect. Yeah.
Let's go to the next slide. So the next 3 aspects we're going to kind of talk about all together. So we have Venus conjunct Mars. It has been occurring for most of February, since February 6th, and it will move away from the 3-degree orb on March 21st. And then we have both Venus sextile Neptune and Mars sextile Neptune. So that's for about the same amount of time. Venus would be from February 20th to the 28th, so still all of this week, and Mars is from the 20th to the 27th, so exactly all of this week as well. So I'll just go to this slide here. So we're looking at Mars and Venus here together, and both of them are sextiling Neptune over here. So let's break that down a little bit. I wanted to add a few things. So we've talked about Venus conjunct Mars a lot, since it keeps popping up throughout each of the weeks. So we talked about a lot of themes around collaborating. We have the yin and the yang coming together and recognizing the strengths in one another and being able to work together to come to some sort of useful resolution, one that benefits everyone. A few things that I wanted to add to this could be gender issues coming up in the government, since it's in Capricorn. We've got, Venus and Mars together brings up the idea of masculinity, femininity, male, female, and this seems to be a theme that people get heated up about, for varying reasons, of course. So we might see these kinds of things coming up in the news. And friendly competition or graceful action, which I thought of the Winter Olympics are happening right now. So we have the action of Mars and the grace of Venus together. And that's currently, it might have ended by the time we do this video.
Well, yesterday I was watching, is it Patrick Chen? Mm-hmm. The gold, the one that got the gold, the American skater. I don't know if that's his name. I tend to forget, but it's beautiful to watch that expression, because it's very Mars, very sports, very in the body, and the blade of the skate, Mars rules over it. Totally. Sharp. the blade of the skate, and then there's this grace, is the grace, and the eyes, and the Capricorn seems very cold as well. Like it's a very beautiful expression of that archetype. Those are kind of little things that you notice the archetypes can be seen in everyday life. Yeah. And it's true. I was watching the figure skating and I was like, this is beautiful. And then there's this is that yin yang, beauty, grace with strength, force, you're gonna cut through it. And then it's very beautiful that you mentioned the Winter Olympics, because it has that quality of and also of getting a goal, right? Like
competitiveness, and
there's a competitiveness about it. It's like, I'm gonna get the goals,
And Capricorn, of course, is all about working from the bottom up. And so Olympians, it's not all about just this one competition. They've been working their whole lives for this.
So it's very interesting to see how these archetypes just happen to exist. And on more personal levels, I mean, we've discussed this Venus, Mars. There could be relationships coming into kind of a more balanced, in what it means to give and to take. Also more committed relationships at this time. It's, if you're meeting somebody, it could be a very good time to meet people that are going to be more serious about you, because there is this, there's this 2 months, you might meet people that are willing to be more for the long haul, because of the nature of these aspects. Or relationships getting a little bit more serious now. Maybe they were not before, and now it's a good time to maybe, tie the knot. These are good times for those kinds of things, because Capricorn wants to make sure that things will be long lasting, that will be endured over time. And a good time to maybe make some vows, or look at the bigger picture with somebody or someone in your life. That is a possibility, as usual. Not everything is exact. Everything can express itself in many ways, from figure skating to getting married.
I love it.
And we'll have Valentine's, Valentine's Day would have been like the week before. So this is like, if people did what, I mean, I want to know, put in the comments, like, how was your Valentine's Day? Did something move you forward? And
right,
I want to say, this is, I think we mentioned the portal of the 22-2022, the 02-22-2022.
You did, yes.
I did mention that it's like a mirror portal, meaning, it's like if you put the numbers, they're like mirrored, because it's the 22nd of February of 2022. So you do 22-02-2022 gives you a mirrored portal. So in some, let's say, new age talk that I've been hearing from long few years back, it's not new, there has been talk that this month of February is almost like a passageway to literally a new, like a squeeze into a new reality almost. So it's important to note like what's going on with that, the sextile to Uranus, then 3 planets in Pisces, like the Jupiter, the Uranus, then the 3 planets in Pisces, because we have just gotten the ingress of the sun, it's just gotten in like a couple days back. I mean, this last week, we see that ingress of the sun in Pisces is very important, because it shifts the energy from Aquarius, and all these societal issues into the more human experience of spirit. It dissolves. It almost asks for the ego that wants things here, territory, to dissolve into something different. And when we are going to have even more planets in Pisces in April, that's going to be like, so lots of unity. And it's interesting how many people have been like in division, and now there's this almost a call to unify, call to unity in the heart. There's also Venus in that mix, with that sextile to Neptune. That Venus Mars almost in that sextile is is how can we come into a unity, a union within, because it's an inner union of feminine and masculine energy, you know. And well, this can I do a little like promo here? May I? Okay, cool. My promo moment. So funny enough, like just as this is happening, I have been working on a card deck for a while, and it's called the Twin Flame Ascension. Whether you are into these things or not, that's irrelevant. It's more like, because the twin flame energy represents the union of feminine masculine into wholeness. That's what it is. It's not about a person, or that's like the nutshell. And this just came out, like we're just publishing this just now. You see, this deck is just coming into being as these aspects are occurring. So I feel that a lot of that energy of the union, you know, this was 3 years and it didn't occur, and now it's like it's finally happening. So for me personally, and if you're interested, I'll leave links below if you want one. That's why. Little promo moment. Thank you so much. But it just means that there's this kind of energy of union within, of spiritualizing your being into wholeness. That's one possibility as well with this the sextile.
Yeah, I see the sextile between Venus and Mars, Venus-Mars sextiling Neptune as good for the honeymoon phase of a relationship. You're all lovey-dovey, you're just enjoying each other's company, and completely oblivious to any flaws, of course, that Neptune kind of fogginess around someone's flaws. But of course, if you're already in a committed relationship and it's been a while, this might be a nice, pleasant time where it's not super tense. You just can kind of enjoy each other's company and go with the flow and maybe do something different than you normally do.
This is all great for partner dancing, you know, art, beauty. I wrote dance and the feminine principle activated. So this is great for maybe starting doing some partner dancing lessons and see how that flows. I mean, I teach partner dancing, so that's one of my many things that I do. And I've been noticing that how enjoyable that is. You know, it's like we have been cut for so long from the contact through this pandemic. And maybe as things start opening up and, you know, things, you know, are starting to release a little bit, this is a good time to maybe take that on, like maybe take some dance classes. It's like of a good energy for, you know, take a partner dance class and start reconnecting to others. And it's funny because I am actually going to teach a workshop on partner dancing on the 26th. So it's just kind of like funny to see that that applies to me as something that's very alive in me. Like, I really want to do this. I really want to do this with people. So that's a little bit how things, you know, how to take these energies and express them gracefully and beautifully to support connection, to support contact and communication. So yeah.
So with Neptune, the boundaries between us and others might be minimal. So this can be played out in many different ways, of course, but I did want to highlight the ability to be vulnerable with other people. And of course that can be scary, but this allows us that graceful feeling, that safe feeling as well, with Neptune being in Pisces, and Venus and Mars collaborating together. So that allows people to maybe feel a bit more comfortable being vulnerable with others and opening up, and being empathetic to others and sensitive, being able to relate to others a little bit more easily. And then more just with Mars sextiling Neptune, there were a few things like getting lost in a rock song or something like that. I guess that includes Venus as well, artistic stuff. Just completely enjoying a rock song and dancing and loving it. Also, there could be some escapist tendencies. So just wanting to escape from everyday reality in whatever form. There are multiple different forms, but I could see that.
And Neptune also kind of softens Mars a lot. Like it almost, it tones it down. It's like swimming. Mars and Neptune is also like swimming. It's the archetype of, you know, something that moves in water. It can't move too fast because the water has that kind of quality. It's also beautiful for maybe, swimming. you know express that energy in something softer, more feminine. you know and this is also a beautiful archetype for those swimmers that do rhythmic swimming.
Synchronized swimmers.
Swimming is a very, another archetype of this. It that applies to anybody really, but we're just trying to give you the feel for this. So whatever is happening in your life, whatever decisions you're making, like me giving that workshop, and I had not really seen the astrology until now. So it's funny that I'm saying this. It's like, oh, I was already planning that workshop, like something that is an urge. So when these urges happen, and this is how astrology kind of works, is these urges. You don't know where they come from, but they're just urges, and then you just do life, and then life happens, and then you see it and you reflect back to the astrology and go like, oh yeah, that makes sense why I had that urge. Whether you act on it or not, or how you act on it or not, is up to you.
Okay, let's move on. So we'll just go past these slides. We talked about Venus and Mars sextile, Neptune enough, and our last two aspects. So we have the first one here is Mercury square Uranus, and that is from February 23rd to the 26th. So that's Wednesday to Saturday. So we have Mercury here, square Uranus here. So Mercury's in Aquarius, and Uranus, as we've been discussing, is in Taurus, and they're at 11 degrees-ish. So with Mercury Uranus, that can be scattered thinking or a busy mind, getting ideas that come to you out of nowhere, or you've been thinking about something and you just haven't found the right solution or the right idea, and all of a sudden it comes to you, that aha moment. Also, it could be more nervous energy. So people with anxiety, just maybe be prepared and have your grounding practices in place, and whatever else you do to calm down your nervous system, like tapping solution is apparently a very good thing. I need to start doing it.
What, tapping?
Tapping, yeah. Yeah, there's different points all over your body, and doing that for a while and talking to yourself, saying like, this is difficult for me right now. I wish it were different, but that's okay. Like, I will get through it, things like that. And while you're tapping those points, it calms down your nervous system a lot. So anyways, also technology, I could see, blowing a fuse, or your computer just crashing, just getting, just getting too overused, power failures, things like that. Disruptions with classes. I always remember in university, like we get a day off because there was something going on and it was great. So maybe something like that, or shutdowns with social media platforms and things just kind of going, nope, we're not working right now. Things like difficulty concentrating, but also being able to like rapidly make decisions. Like, your mind will be moving quite quickly. So as long as you can keep up with it, you might be able to just see, the way that I'm speaking right now is very Uranus. You'll just kind of keep up with your mind and be able to make those decisions quickly.
Yeah, I feel that this, like you said, restless mind, and it can be very erratic. So you might be having a thought, an idea, and then another thought, an idea, and then another one. And there's so many that you might get kind of like overwhelmed. this is perfectly the archetype of overwhelm. And Mercury in Aquarius is already very in the head, you know? It's not like a Mercury in Capricorn with strategies. No, this is in the head. It's ideas, 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 ideas. So when you have like 10,000 ideas per day, at some point you're gonna go kaboom, right? With Uranus just sending all this information and you're not able to place it anywhere, you know? So that's why what Dulcie just said about tapping or grounding practices, breathing is going to be huge, because we use the air, the actual air, to calm the nervous system down. So I would highly recommend in this week, if you start getting restless, if you're too much in the head, really 3 minutes of conscious breathing. Conscious breathing looks like this. You breathe into your belly, like making sure your belly expands and not the upper body. You breathe slowly. Then you hold the breath. Then you release the breath. And then you hold. It's like a 4 count thing. And you do that for 3 minutes every day, if that's starting to overwhelm you. And that, what it does, it calms the nervous system down. It just calms it down. So it's not like some extensive practice if you're not used to any of this. Very simple. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, to the extent of where you can, you know, stretch it out. It doesn't have to be super long. And that will immediately calm your nervous system down. So that's a practice you can do if this is starting to impact you too much. You know, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our last slide here. So we have the Sun sextile Uranus, and that is right at the end of the week on Sunday, February 27th, and that goes until March 4th. So it'll be mostly next week that you'll be feeling it, but you'll be feeling it a bit at the end of the week, on the weekend. So we have the Sun, let me just circle it here, in Pisces, sextile Uranus in Taurus. Yeah, do you have anything to say about that, Tatiana?
Well, it's a little bit like what we said at the beginning. As the Sun also approaches Jupiter and approaches, you know, it's starting to come really close to Jupiter. And we've seen this, this is the top, like this is the top of the mountain kind of thing we're talking about. It feels like, me, free, who am I? Yes. And then there's this big, expansive, like top of the mountain with big music, you know that, how do you call that music? Epic music? That's the genre. It's called like epic music. So it's this epic music playing and you're at the top of the mountain. You know, like feeling that connectedness, you know, there's that kind of energy of expansion of your consciousness. Expansion is close to Jupiter, and as it gets closer, it's going to be more and more and more. So ride this wave. And the issue with this wave is that you could get completely into dream, like too much enmeshed in the dream and not enough in reality. However, we have that Capricorn energy helping us, thank God, you know, like that ground Capricorn energy that helps us kind of keep the ground, you know. Plus, let's not forget that Venus Mars will be trining the North Node. So this is a wonderful, this is almost an energy that is pushing with physical action and pushing with the internal sense of being towards a better, more free existence for each one of you. And that looks different for me than it looks for you, or for you, for you, for you. You know, every person has different dreams, and the energy of Pisces is the energy of dreams. And when we have Jupiter there, big dreams. And when we have Jupiter and the Sun, like big sense of identity, like who I am and what I dream of, and how we as a collective can dream something bigger. And it's highly, highly supported by the energy of the North Node that's pushing us towards this more sustainable, slow, beautiful, you know, it's Venus ruled, that North Node at this moment, right? It's how can we create more grace, more beauty, more connection, more compassion? All of that is going to begin to support your choices. So where are your choices? It's always what you choose, and move with it consciously. This is how we use astrology, conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to say about?
Let's see. About the Jupiter. Oh no, so Sun Uranus. So
Uranus.
I could see leaders, the Sun. Oh, my mouse. This is a thing with Zoom. I've noticed other presenters also can't see their mouse. Okay, I found it.
Leaders of
So I'm not going to draw, I'll just speak. So something may come to light, something sudden, something shocking, something, bizarre or different. Leaders, the Sun facing like challenges, odd challenges, disruptive challenges. Others might be able to see a new side of you, the Sun being your identity and Uranus being turning things upside down or being able to see a different perspective. A desire for freedom of action, limited patience with authority figures. We are clearly seeing that already. Wanting to change your image a little bit. And yeah, self-discovery. Another thing, Tatiana, was we have Mars, Venus right next to Pluto here.
Oh yeah. Oh, how did I not see that?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
What happened? Approaching. I mean,
yeah.
it's within 3 degrees or 4
Yeah.
degrees. So it will get stronger in that Venus Mars Pluto. Whoa, passion ignited in yum. that could be a lot of passion. A lot of I want you. So you could expect that. Honeymoon, you go on your honeymoon, you know what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, Pluto's just going to intensify whatever your Venus Mars is signifying in that house, and allowing you to really go deep and perhaps see things from a deeper perspective, and perhaps allow you to something will shift, something will change, something will perhaps decompose and become something brighter and healthier from the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's like maybe seeing what's not working in relationships, like what's really not working, how you have been operating in relationships, and maybe by bringing all these dark issues, when you have triggers that are massive, and you are able to work through them, it could completely transform the relationships into a much more freer version of relationship, into a much more beautiful balance. So it's a good time for couples therapy. If you're having trouble with your significant others, this is a great time. If you want to use that energy positively, this is a great time to go and do counseling, couples counseling, or some kind of, or for others, it could bring raw passion, Pluto, very raw, like raw sex, Pluto Mars could also bring anger issues to the surface. But anger, if you use anger as passion, then you channel it correctly, as like, I want to channel this raw energy of Pluto, channel it into something that you really want to achieve. Like, it's Capricorn. So what are you really passionate about? Is it your business? Is it your relationship? What is it that you're really passionate about? And freaking go for it. This is like a nonstop energy. It will give you the ability to keep going no matter what. It's that energy, is keep going. So that's a healthy expression, because what in its unhealthy version would be probably a lot of anger. There could be, a lot of power over, power dynamics. That could happen too. It's still Capricorn, so power dynamics could be very highlighted as well. So, and again, this aspect will get stronger and stronger as we come into Mars. So, but we'll start feeling it creeping in at the end of February. So watch out for that. What are you going to choose? How are you going to choose to express this energy?
Awesome. All right, let's wrap up.
Wrapping up.
I have lost my mouse.
Well, I have the cat. He can find it. Neptune just came. His little minstrel. Well, for those who don't know, Neptune is my cat. And he's there licking. Hi, Neptune. Say hello to Astrology Victoria listeners. Okay. I don't know if you saw him. Anyway, we're starting to get silly though. No, let's go back. Yeah. All right. So
Awesome.
with this being said, thank you for listening, for watching, for supporting us. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and we also are on Instagram, Meetup, Facebook. You can find us everywhere. So you might find the links below if you want to follow us, follow our information, and we also love your comments and your interactions in this community. So that's it.
Yeah. And Saturday on the 26th, we have Lori Lothian giving a presentation about annual perfections, which is an ancient Hellenistic timing technique that is surprisingly simple. Like, it's quite easy to understand and apply once you know the basic steps. So I highly recommend that. Join us on Facebook or Meetup, and you'll have all the information there.
Yeah.
All right.
So even if you're a beginner, if you're interested in astrology and you're beginning, it's okay. All the talks are, are open to anybody who just wants to learn more and more and more. So this is why we do what we do, so we can bring more of the knowledge into the mainstream and everybody can access it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tatiana, and we'll see you next week or March. Okay. Bye.